the key theme for this panel I want to focus on is three things. How do we get the right infrastructure in place? How do we get users to be properly educated? And what type of instruments should Nigeria start off with? Jalo, so if you could maybe give us an overview of the work you've done, in your previous life and around perhaps building the exchange-traded derivatives market here in Nigeria. Can you just educate us on what's been going on in that space?
My previous life was at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, responsible for the capital markets. And when I came in, one of the things that was on the strategy go for the exchange in 2012 was that they wanted to expand their products, 5 products over 5 years, I think, if I remember correctly. And one of the products was supposed to be derivatives. So in 2013, we had a study done by a company out of Hong Kong who consults for most exchanges and did a study in Nigeria around the possibility of introducing exchange-traded derivatives. So at the exchange, we started the process of building a derivatives market. But one key challenge that came out clearly was that for us to build a significant derivative market, we needed a CCP, which is a clearinghouse that concentrates risk.
Can I stick on the infrastructure bit, and maybe Jennifer, if you can provide some thoughts from a legal, regulatory, in addition to what Jalo has already mentioned around CCPs.
For the derivatives market to develop in Nigeria, what would be important is for us to see a CCP that is adequately capitalized. But more importantly, I think that it is key for market participants to see some form of changes to our regulations.
What are you telling your clients, essentially? And what are your clients telling you? And do they know what a derivative is?
Derivatives are at the end of a spectrum. And a lot of times in the discussions I've had, we want to bring it to the beginning. You're going to get a series of bottlenecks if you try that. Derivatives is at the end of a treasury solution spectrum. At least half the corporates that I've come across do not have a treasury management system. And so when you ask them what risks they are running, they know they're running risks, but they don't monitor it.
Beyond infrastructure, what's the role of banks? What do treasurers need to know?
Derivatives is something that has come to stay. I mean, we started from looking at the global figures in terms of trillions. So it's not a market that we can shy away from. And the earlier we embrace it as banks, the better for us. How can we do this? 2 things. Banks can either invest in developing their staff, so their traders.
So what are you seeing? Anything else from the perspective of potentially increasing capacity? What else do we need to think about to kind of have a proper derivatives market here? And what worked for you? And how did you manage to convince people to essentially do a lot of the things that you've done?
One of the greatest positives that I see from the last currency crisis is that there is now an appreciation for derivatives. In fact, year to date, we've seen $21.6 billion in exchange-traded derivatives on FMDQ.
Who are your key clients in that space? What do you think needs to happen now? If you look at the exchange-traded derivatives side, what developments, I guess, need to be had in this market?
Generally, if you're trying to develop a new market, if you're trying to create a marketplace, well, you almost always need a champion. Someone or an institution or a set of institutions that say, okay, we know it will take a while for everyone to do their part, but while we're encouraging, while we're expecting people to pick up their bids, we're going to stand and ensure that things are done. And again, we'll see parallel in other markets. And I think the NSE is playing that role. It's just to ensure that the last mile is finished well.
Could Nigeria have avoided a recession?
1, oil is less than 10% of our GDP. Government spending is less than 10% of our GDP. My sincere opinion is that this wasn't the first time we're going to be seeing a reduction in oil prices. My sincere opinion, there was a lack of direction, public policy that was the cause rather than oil prices.
Yes, oil may represent just 10% of our GDP, but it's over 90% of our foreign exchange earnings. If we had taken some mitigation against the falling oil prices, It may not have averted a slowdown, but I think it would have averted a recession.
Thank you, and thanks to the NSC for hosting us. Have a good evening.
It's been an amazing day. Nigeria is ready for business, and the NSC is ready for business.
This conference now comes to an end.